Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix. Another race and circuit I really do love and always look forward to every single year. It's just one of those that more often than not does offer up some good racing, and I cannot wait to see how it all shakes out this weekend. Before I get stuck into the preview itself though, on the day this video goes out, the 26th of June, it will be exactly 8 years since the first video, the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix review, was uploaded to the F1 Word. So, as it is the channel's, I suppose, birthday, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you for your support, whether you've been here 8 minutes or the whole 8 years. It really does mean the world to me, and cheesy YouTuber alert, you guys have quite literally all changed my life for the better, and I cannot thank you enough. And an extra special shout out goes to those who have stood by me and the channel since it became part of the Planet Sport group last September, but you are all incredible, so once again a huge thank you to every single one of you. But anyway, before I get too soppy, let's get on with the preview. And a couple of weeks ago, F1 was in Canada, where George Russell took his first win of the season and where Lando Norris drove into the back of his teammate, as I'm sure you remember. But now it is on to the fast and flowing 4.318 kilometre, that's 2.68 mile, 10 corner Red Bull Ring for round 11 of this season already. What feels like most of the circuit is DRS this weekend, with 3 zones in total. The first one runs between turns 1 and 3, the second between turns 3 and 4, and the third is down the start-finish straight, with all 3 zones, by the way, having their own detection points, and they fall just before turns 1, 3 and after turn 9. The best spots to make a move are turn 1, although most will hold off to avoid being repassed on that long run to turn 3, which is arguably the best place to get an overtake done, although we have also seen more than a couple of incidents up there over the years. And we do also see cars side by side through 4, 5 and 6 that always look spectacular, so keep an eye on those corners too. It's got to be said it is an old school track with some tarmac runoff, but also grass and gravel, both traps and strips, and so that means even the slightest mistake is often punished here, and that is how it should be, in my opinion at least. Cool story, Grandpa. We've had 38 races around the Red Bull Ring in its various layouts, circuit names and event titles since it joined the World Championship calendar in 1970, with 25 different drivers taking victory in that time, Max Verstappen claiming the most wins and poles at the track over the years with 5 of each. It is also worth noting that the Dutchman is enjoying quite the run of qualifying form at the Red Bull Ring, having taken pole at each of the last 5 races at the circuit, both Austrian and Styrian. And so if he can pull out one of his special laps on a Saturday this weekend, it will be his 6th pole position on the bounce in Austria. That would be quite the stat. Oh, and 6 also just so happens to be the number of dry tyre compounds in the whole Pirelli range. Oh yes, that's right folks, it's tyre talk time once again. The compounds available for this one then are towards the soft end of the range, but not the absolute softest, and they are the hard C3, the medium C4 and the soft C5. So what can we expect this weekend when it comes to strategy? Well, the track surface is an old one and highly abrasive, a bit like me, but tyre wear isn't all that much of a factor here. There aren't many corners either, which means the lateral forces aren't all that high and degradation will for the most part be thermal. Really, the key to this one is managing tyre temperatures to avoid overheating, and that's the big thing to look out for on Sunday. The circuit is also used a lot through the year, so there should be plenty of rubber laid down already, but grip and track evolution are still moderate according to Pirelli. Last year, eventual race winner George Russell pitted twice, having run the mediums for both his first 2 stints and hards for the final one, pitting on lap 22 and 46. In fact, 2 stops is often the way to go around the Red Bull Ring, and in 2024, every single driver pitted at least twice, with a few even going for 3 stops. So, as you might expect, a 2-stopper is expected again this time around, but that doesn't mean teams won't try to push for a 1-stop strategy. I mean, nobody was expecting anyone to make a 1-stopper work in Canada, yet more than a few drivers did, so we could see that again on Sunday. One big variable is the safety car, and that loves to make an appearance at the track, which given the nature of the circuit perhaps isn't all that much of a shock. And every race since 2020 has featured at least one full or virtual safety car, so there's a good chance we'll see one on Sunday. And the weather can also, of course, have an impact, but at time of recording, rain isn't really expected, with a less than 10% chance of a shower hitting the race. However, there are currently thunderstorms forecast for Thursday, so if they shift at all, they could impact the weekend in some way, so keep an eye on the sky. I'm sure Crofty will keep you all updated if the race is a little bit dull. Oh, look, there's a cloud over there. Quick, stare at it. And your schedule for this one is, following the Canadian Grand Prix, a return to the usual European times. So that means FP1 will get the weekend started on Friday at 12:30 p.m. BST, and that is followed later that same day by FP2 at 4 p.m. Saturday's F1 action kicks off with FP3 at 11:30 a.m. with qualifying underway from 3 p.m. and it will be lights out for the race on Sunday at 2 p.m. and once again that is in UK time. Formula 2 and Formula 3 will also be on track in Austria, so we've got loads to look forward to this weekend. Now, before I make some probably awful predictions, let's have a quick run through a couple of things worth noting, or at least keeping an eye out for. To be honest, not a lot of news out there relevant to this weekend at time of recording at least. It's mostly speculation and gossip apart from James Vowles' contract extension at Williams, which was announced last week. And speculation and gossip isn't really what these previews are supposed to be about, so apologies if this seems a bit short on the news front. First up, Ferrari is set to introduce a comprehensive package of updates, including a new floor at this weekend's race in Austria, at least according to Auto Racer Italy. There is also talk that revisions to the rear suspension geometry set to be used at the British Grand Prix may be brought forward by a week, meaning there is the potential both updates could be introduced at the same time. Fred Vasseur, of course, previously confirmed updates were on their way for Austria, although the team boss also played down the extent of the competitive jump the changes could make. Let's wait and see, but hopefully a step forward for the Scuderia. Down at Red Bull, though, the team has already brought revisions to the floor, side pods and front wing in recent weeks, and Helmut Marko has said they will introduce its latest set of updates and refinements at the next two events. He also added, definitely worth mentioning this, that after Silverstone or Spa at the latest, he assumes there will be a decision to focus entirely on the new 2026 car. So very much coming towards the end of the 2025 development cycle down at Red Bull. And there have been a couple of confirmed FP1 driver changes for the weekend. Dino Beganovic is back and will get the chance to drive Charles Leclerc's car in the first practice session. That will be the Swedish driver's second outing in the SF25 this year following his debut session in Bahrain. And Alex Dunn will make his F1 weekend debut as he takes to the wheel of Lando Norris's McLaren on Friday morning. That is the situation as of, Wednesday afternoon, so keep an eye out on Friday for any more info on car updates and or driver changes. Although, super quickly, on the subject of driver changes, Helmut Marko has said that Arvid Lindblad will make his FP1 debut at the British Grand Prix next week as the team starts, quote, preparing ourselves in case something really happens with Max Verstappen in terms of his penalty points. Just worth a quick mention, and also as a reminder, this is the last weekend where Max sits 1 point away from a ban, with his points total dropping from 11 to 9 after this weekend. Right then, time for me to make some predictions, and as always, please do not take these too seriously, they're just a little bit of fun, but if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last time, once again, the less said, the better, quite frankly. But in my defence, I don't think many were predicting a George Russell win, so I don't think I'm alone on this one this week. Let me know how you got on. This time around, tricky in some ways. McLaren had a tough one in Canada across pretty much the whole weekend actually, but you'd still expect them to be the benchmark this time around. The Red Bull ring should be more suited to their car than the circuit Gilles Villeneuve was, but at the same time, their rivals definitely seem to be closing the gap, even if just by a little bit. Don't forget, after all, it was pretty warm on Sunday last time out and Mercedes still has strong race pace. Have they, for example, solved their issues in that department? A lot of unanswered questions floating around, so this weekend could be a really interesting one. But with that said, I need the points, so I will play it relatively safe by backing McLaren, but I will hedge my bets to a point. I'll go with Oscar Piastri for pole, but pick Lando Norris for the win with Max Verstappen P2. He has got great form at this track though, hasn't he? And it really does seem to suit him, so he might actually be in with a really good shot at the win. No, do you know what? I'm changing that. With all that in mind, let's actually say that Verstappen takes the win with Norris P2 and Oscar Piastri P3, only just ahead of George Russell, who I'll pick for the fastest lap. If all of that happens, I have no idea how it would end up like that, but it'll be a lot of fun finding out, so prepare for total McLaren domination now I've said that one. Anyway, I'll go with Racing Bulls as the 5th best finishing team on Sunday, and when it comes to some bolder picks, let's say that Williams, who by the way haven't scored in Austria since 2017, yes really, end their drought with a top 10 finish in the race for either driver. I'll also go with points for Isack Hadjar, and let's have some positivity for Alpine too, and say they get both drivers into Q2, and Franco Colapinto manages to pick up his first points of the season on Sunday afternoon. Would be a great way to build on what was a very strong Canadian Grand Prix for him. That is it for the Austrian Grand Prix preview then, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comment section down below. Now, I will be back across the weekend with the usual qualifying and race watch-alongs, but in the meantime, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel in its never-ending battle with the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing too so you don't miss any future videos or live streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.